Hi, I'm Brooke, and I'm so excited to welcome you to Beam Boldly. As an NCAA Division I gymnast, I know firsthand what it feels like to carry the weight of performance, expectations, and identity. Here, we're going to talk about all of it. We're going to talk about mental health, performance anxiety, NIL, resilience, and of course, how faith is our foundation that carries us through all of that. Whether it's stepping onto the beam in competition or just stepping out in everyday life, we are called to live boldly, and we're called to let our light shine. The name Beam Boldly was inspired by the verse Matthew 5:16, which says, "Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." To me, that's what this podcast is all about. So if you're ready to hear raw conversations, find strength in faith, and be reminded that you are never walking this journey by yourself, join me as we step boldly into everyday life. Hey y'all, welcome to Beam Boldly. I am your host, Brooke, and today we have a very special guest, Miss Janie Sandel. Welcome, Janie.
So glad to be here.
Yes, I'm so excited for you to be here. Janie and I have actually crossed paths, I feel like, so many times, or at least I knew who you were for like a long time. I have no idea if you knew who I was, but I'm so excited to get to dive deeper into your story. For those of you that don't know, Janie is a former cross country runner for UGA. Super cool. That's kind of how we met. I used to see you in the Bite all the time last
Yes.
year.
That was
The
my
Bite.
spot. That was my spot.
Yeah. The Bite is like our little athlete cafeteria type thing, and Janie would always be in there with her cute little sweatshirts. It's like, "God loves you" on the back, you know?
We repping right now. We
Yes.
repping.
I was like, "I know I like that girl even though she has no idea who I am and I don't know her." But here we are filming a podcast together. Another super awesome thing about Janie is she has her own podcast.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
do you wanna tell them about your podcast a little bit?
Sure, absolutely. I think we have similar missions and visions with the podcast. So mine is called Wait, There's More. And it's just kind of diving deeper into student athletes' stories because a lot of the time you see on the outside, like all of their posts and all the different things that they're doing, the accomplishments that they have, but no one really knows how they got there, what they gave up to be there, all of like the pain that they went through, everything they had to overcome. So it's kind of like, wait, there's more to just
Yeah.
or the trophy or the win, the hard things. So I just love hearing people's stories. Well, obviously have a passion for athletics and athletes because I can relate because I was one, and you are one. So I think this is super awesome.
Yeah, that is so cool. So after you guys listen or watch this, go straight over to Wait, There's More. Who knows? We might
Full
be doing
plug.
another collab soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's awesome. If you're good with it, I think we should just dive right into your story.
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. Okay, so go ahead and tell me a little bit about your faith background and just what your life was like growing up.
Yeah, so this is actually so funny. I was just applying to this like program where I had to answer all these questions about like my faith and my background and how I grew up. So I've like recently thought about all of this, which is super fun. But I'd say I was very blessed to grow up in a family that's very loving. Both my parents are Christian, love the Lord. They actually met when my dad was a youth pastor at a church. So,
Oh,
so
cool.
they did some ministry stuff together. They don't work in the church anymore, but just definitely grew up with that very strong Christian background, which is so fun. I have 3 siblings, so I'm one of 4, which is so, so awesome. I love all of my siblings. We're all very different. We're all athletes. My older brother's at Georgia Tech running cross country, and then obviously I ran cross country at Georgia, and my younger sister's at UT Chat, so in Chattanooga, playing beach volleyball, which is so fun. Also deep.
Cool.
And then my younger brother's in high school, but he's also a runner. So big athlete family, which is
Yeah,
crazy. My
big
dad
running
played sports
family.
in college. Yeah, big running family. My dad played soccer in college. So just like very athletic, very hardcore, kind of grew up like always doing sports, always doing something. I played soccer for forever before I started running and just kind of the go get it, like get outside, get dirty,
Yeah.
scrape your knees up type of childhood, which is so awesome. But that's kind of how I grew up. And then getting more into the athletics part of my story, like I said, grew up doing athletics all the time. I played soccer and then started running when I was in middle school. And I was just kind of like automatically good at running because of soccer. It had all of that
Right.
experience. It's an easy crossover sport, I'd say. Like a lot of soccer players will run, a lot of runners play soccer, just kind of like, but yeah, just realized that I was actually better at running than I really was at soccer. So it kind of started leaning more into the running with cross country and distance and all of that. Was definitely something I had to overcome because I did not honestly enjoy running.
Really? I was gonna say, did you have, like, a specific moment or, like, I don't know, like, circumstance or, like, situation that was, like, the pivot of, like, "Wait, I really need to, like, make this switch?"
Yeah, kind of. Kind of. I honestly fought it for a long time. I wanted to play soccer because it's to me, it was more fun because you get to run all over the field and play a few different positions, and it's very, like, team culture, which is awesome. Running can be team culture heavy, but it's very individual as well.
Which I
Uh,
think is similar to gymnastics in the
yeah,
way that, like, I get up on the beam to do, like, my own
yeah,
thing, but I'm, like I have a job
mhm.
for that still impacts everyone
Right.
else.
Like, your performance on the beam is not going to affect someone else's performance on the beam, but it is going to affect your team score as a whole. So, that's kind of the same with running. Like, the way that I run my race is not going to affect the way that my teammate runs her race, but it will affect, like, our team score as a whole. And that is something so interesting. So, like, with soccer, it's your position and your
Mhm.
performance will affect the rest of the team's performance. So something like that. But that was very interesting to learn. But I just started running, was in a very small private Christian school my whole life. Didn't have a ton of competition there. And I just started winning all these races. And it was like, oh, well, now I have to keep doing this because I get
Yeah.
races. And honestly, fought it for a long time with my parents. My dad kind of pushed me to say, hey, you're really good at this. So you like shouldn't quit. It wasn't, you can't quit, but it was kind of like, you shouldn't quit, even though I really wanted to. Because I was like, no, I want to play soccer. I don't really want to run. But he saw a lot of talent in me and was like, this is something that you're really good at. So you should keep doing it, even though you kind of hate it. And so I just learned to start to love it
Yeah.
over the course of the years that I was running. And this is just for anyone who wants to get into running, it's going to suck when you first start because like you just can't, your body isn't like built like that. That's something with an endurance sport. You have to build endurance. It's not something that you can just have. It's kind of like with gymnastics and all those skills that takes a long time to develop the skills. And that's why you have to practice all the time too. Even though like if you have your little routine on the beam and it goes perfectly, if you don't practice it for a while, you're gonna like it takes that motor skill in your brain to develop that and remember how to do it well. And so with endurance, it's kind of like that. You have to build it and then keep it up or else you're gonna lose it.
Yeah. That's so funny because
Yeah.
my teammates and I, we talk about running all the time because it's like, obviously we have to, like, be powerful and, like, we do run into, like, a lot of our skills, especially, like, floor and vault, but running for longer than, like, a mile sounds treacherous to us,
It's just a little different, a little bit of a
and
different sport.
there's some girls on our team that are like, "Oh, yeah, when I'm done, like, I am totally gonna be that girl that's running half marathons, maybe a full, like, yada, yada," and then there's so many of us that are just
Like,
like,
never, could never be me.
yeah, those people that are straight up like, "I hate running, like, I will never go for a run a day in my life," and I'm just like my mom kinda, like, ran a little bit too, so I'm like, "Hmm," like, I could think about it, but it's very intimidating, but I think it's because like you were saying, you have to, like, build up to it. You can't just, like,
Yeah, no,
go for the
exactly.
marathon
Yeah,
right
there's a
away.
reason why it's a marathon, not a sprint. It takes time.
Right,
You gotta learn.
right.
So, my point in saying that is, like, the more I did it, the better I got at it and the more fun I had with it. Because the better you are at something, the more times you win a race, you kind of feel good about it and you're like, "Okay, like, I'm good at this, like, this is fun." If it doesn't hurt all the time, then you're, like, you can actually enjoy it. Uh
Right.
so I started to actually enjoy it because I got better at racing really hard, like racing really like aggressively, if that makes sense. So that's kind of how I got into running, got really good at running. My junior year, yes, my junior year in high school, I had a huge breakthrough season where I PR'd by like over a minute, which is
Wow.
in running, like any like A minute is a lot in the 5K. And so I went from like, when you're thinking about like times to get recruited, I went from being like in the D3 range to like bottom of the D1 range with my times, which was so cool. And so the race that I had a breakthrough race and I PR'd by like all this time, I was like, wait, I could go D1 possibly. Like that's wild to realize like, oh, I'm that good. And so that kind of flipped a switch in my brain of like, okay, so now I'm really gonna like put a lot into this. And actually a huge part of my story is right after I had that race, like a month or two after the season was over. And so I was starting to train for track because cross country is in the fall, track's in the spring. So usually after cross country, since you run so many miles just all the time, I'll take like a week break, just like no miles, maybe cross train a little bit before you ramp up for track. Track's a little bit different training because you have to train for speed rather than just like endurance. So it's a nice little break to let your body kind of reset before you start getting back into track. And so during that off period time, when I came back to start training for track, I had so much pain in my knee. And that was really sad because I decided like, okay, I'm really good at this. I'm going to start trying to get one. And I started getting like recruitment offers from these colleges. I had this pain in my knee. And so ended up, long story short, got it checked out, had a hole in my knee. It was like a genetic just bone decay thing.
Wow.
Yeah. For those listening and want to look it up, it's called osteochondritis dissecans, but they call it OCD.
Okay.
So not like
right,
different kind
right.
of OCD, but it was like a bone thing. So ended up having to decide to get surgery. So it was like very significant. They were like, wait, how have you been running? The doctors were like, you might never be able to run again. Like this is so bad.
Oh wow.
Which was
I bet that was so scary too.
It was so scary when the doctor saw me and said, I don't know if you're going to be able to run again. And I was like, wait, I just decided like I wanted to run college. Like what? So it was a long process and I wasn't able to run for 9 months after that.
Wow. Like
so,
not at all.
Like not at all. I stopped running. I had my knee surgery and then I was on crutches for like 2 months. So I couldn't put like non-weight bearing for 2 months, like lost strength in my leg. It was literally like you would look at me and it'd be like, oh, this like strong leg and then this like stick. It literally my leg was like a stick just because I wasn't walking on it. And so I had to do all this PT and all these things. And so that the fall of my senior year, I still hadn't been able to start running yet, but I was like doing all this PT, I was cross training, I was doing everything that I could. Got invited to go on some official visits for some colleges still. Got recruited by Georgia, and Georgia was, I think, one of 2 officials that I had, which was
what was your other one?
Lipscomb University in Nashville.
Okay.
It's a small like Christian college, but they're also D1. They're pretty good. So that was really fun to get to go on those officials and then have to tell the coaches like, hey, I don't really know if I'm going to be able to like come back at the same level I was. But my junior year, I'd improved so much. They were like, oh, if you come back and do that again, like, yeah, you're going to improve so much in college and be like a huge asset to the team. This is like the part of my story that I love so much. So backing up a little bit, the day that I found out that I needed knee surgery and the doctor told me I might never be able to run again was the same day I got my first recruiting letter in the mail.
Oh my gosh.
And I remember finding out like that what is going to happen. I don't know with my knee, like all of this year now. I am a big journaler. So I went and opened my journal and the last thing I had written on it said, God will not provide what he will not perform. And I hadn't journaled in a hot minute and that just like really spoke to me because it was like the Lord is giving me this. He's giving me like a recruiting letter and he's also like giving me this neat thing that I don't really know. And so I'm like, if he's going to provide this, he's going to perform it for me. Like he's going to be the one to see that through, you know? And so I was like, whoa, okay. So God, I'm just going to give it to you. Like whatever happens, like this is in your hands. If you're giving me this opportunity, then you're going to see it through, you know? So I was like, all right, got recruited by Georgia, did the official, all the things, decided I wanted to go to Georgia, signed, and then started running again.
Okay.
So it was like, whoa, like I honestly don't. So I basically didn't run for a whole year. And in that period of time, had surgery, got recruited by Georgia and decided that coming here. And so my first cross country race on the Georgia team, I like hadn't, that was my first race since my junior year of high school,
Wow.
which is crazy.
Yeah. Were you, like, insanely nervous, or were you just, like, so grateful, or, like, what were those emotions like
All of
after literally doing, like, nothing?
all of the things. All the
Yeah.
things. There was a lot of doubt in my mind of like, okay, I think I'm fit, but like I took a whole year off running and then started training over the summer and now I'm here like racing at Georgia.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of doubt in my mind, but I was also like, hey, the Lord brought me here and I get to do this and this is incredible. That like I didn't even know if I was going to be able to run again. And look at me like repping the G at an SEC D1 school. Like,
Right.
how did I get to
The
be
best thing ever.
genuinely? How did I get to be here?
Right.
I don't know.
And
But I
it's so
am.
crazy. It's
Yeah.
so crazy because I think if you were to list, like, all of those circumstances and the things that you went through on a sheet of paper, someone would be like, "Janie, that doesn't make sense."
Yeah.
Like, "Janie, those things don't add up."
No.
Like
No.
like, you must have, I don't know, had a dream about one of these things because there's no way that they all could add up to this, and, like, that just shows how much the Lord's, like, hand was in your story that whole time, and that's, like, so cool, I'm sure, to look back on now and just be like, "Wow, that really did not make sense," and somehow he made a way, he performed, just like you were saying.
Mhm. And there's so many more details too that honestly had to line up perfectly in order for me to get recruited by Georgia and then get here. If I had been a year older, a year younger, like it wouldn't have happened.
Right.
If it was a different year, like there were just coaches and different things, like I don't think I would have gotten recruited. And just the way that it happened was super cool with the staff and teammates that I got recruited with, like just lovely people.
It shows that, like, 1, everything happens, like, in his perfect time, but also that, like, you are here with so much purpose. Like, you are here for such a big reason. Like, it so easily could have gone, like, any other way, but here you are.
No, honestly, so huge. And just to kind of round out my story with athletics, I ran on the team for 2 years and I did suffer a lot of injuries on the same leg that I had my knee surgery on. Luckily not with my knee, but just from like the disproportionate strength that I had because I suffered so much atrophy in my leg because of my knee surgery.
Right.
It caught up to me with the D1 training and I just had like stress reaction after stress reaction and was continually out. And that's the hard thing with distance running too. Like when you have a stress bone related injury, you can't run. Like you have to cross.
And there's nothing else you can do to, like, replace the running.
No,
Like, I just think about for gymnastics, you know, like, for example, I have a teammate right now who's got a hurt thumb, but, like, she's still able to do, like, yeah, she can't do bars, but, like, she's able to do beam without, like, there's so many skills you can do without your hands and, like, all these other things.
but when it's with running, if it's your legs or your foot or your hips or your back, really anything that's like below here, then you're kind of out and that's it. So I suffered a lot of injuries and ended up having to medically retire from the team, which was really hard for me and very confusing because I came back to the time where I had read the thing in my journal that said, God will not provide what he will not perform. Like, Lord, you provided me this. And
Right.
it feels like you're not performing it. Like you aren't coming through. Like, why did you bring me here if you wanted me to run and now I can't run? I can't do the thing that you wanted me to do. But then the Lord's like, but is that really what I wanted you to do? I was like, whoa, God,
You're
okay,
like, "Well, I guess I don't know and
well,
you
I
do."
guess I'm telling you what I want instead of listening to
Right.
you tell me what you want for my life and what you have for
Right.
me. And so through all the injuries, I really just was very humbled and was like, all right. So despite me not being able to run on the team, I am still on the team. And there's a reason for that. And so when I was on the team and not able to run, it was just looking like, okay, how do I minister to my teammates? Okay, how do I get super involved in Team United, which is, for those listening, it's basically FCA. Like, how do I get involved with that? How do I reach my teammates? How do I encourage everyone from the sidelines, honestly?
Yeah.
And that that was huge. Like, I felt so much fulfillment and purpose for being in that group of girls, even when I wasn't able to like physically contribute to the success of the team's performance.
Right.
And that was something I had to separate from what like my coaches were telling me to what the Lord was telling me, because here's my whole thing, honestly, about performance. I was telling you, Brooke, about this song called The Blood.
Yes.
And the bridge goes, it's never been about performance, perfection, or striving for acceptance. Like, that is not what the gospel is about. It is not about performing. It is not about bringing your best self to God. It's not about saying like, oh, I'm not perfect, so I'm not worth it. So like, I just need to hide myself and never come.
Right.
Like,
Right.
no,
Right.
the whole point of the gospel is that we are broken.
Right.
Like, we are broken and we can
It's
do
so
nothing.
hard to have to wrap our heads around that too,
Yeah.
because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no, it
Because,
doesn't.
like, in the world, it's like, "Oh, yeah, if I do everything good, then good will happen," right? Like, that is what would make sense, and if I'm perfect, if I if I hit 12 perfect beam routines in a row, then I'm gonna perform with a perfect beam routine, and everything's gonna be perfect, and, like, the Lord is like, "No, sweetheart, like, I want your brokenness, I want you to bring it to me, like, that's what this is about."
Yeah.
So I love, like, just what you're talking about and how through your teammates and having a different role on the team, you were able to find that of like, "Okay, wait, that time that you got in high school, that was, like, your breakthrough." When God looks at you and has all of these, like, things about Janie Sandel, like, her running time is not on it.
No.
It's
No.
not. Yeah.
It's not, and that's the hardest thing I think for athletes to understand,
Mhm.
because to some degree, like, yes, your performance is important, and, like, your score is important for, like, the team's success, right? Like, you're aiming to get that perfect score, like, that is always the goal. That's always the goal, and that's a good goal to have, because if you don't have that goal, then you're not gonna be motivated to practice.
Right.
You're not gonna be motivated to perform well, and you wanna be motivated to perform well. Like, yes, I want a good time. Yes, I'm gonna put in the work so that I can run the fastest I can run, I can be the best I can be.
Right.
But that's where there's this disconnect of like, okay, does that matter more than anything else that matters to me? At the end of the day, like, my performance in running is not the most important thing. It's really not, and the thing is, athletes don't realize that until it's gone. Like, you don't realize that until I'm a senior, which is really hard. Like, I'm graduating. Like, when you graduate and you're going to be done with gymnastics at some point, right?
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, I accomplished all of this and I did all these things and I was top on the team to all these people, and like that fulfilled me and that made me, whole and all of this stuff. But then when you're done with athletics, it's like, okay, well, now what do I strive for? Like, now what do I strive for? Like, you have this mentality of like performance is everything that matters. So then when you go
Yeah.
into your job or your profession or whatever, it's like, okay, well, I have to be the best at that. And so that people will like me, and that people will see everything that I am is my performance. And then when you put your worth in that, that's when everything else, like emotionally and spiritually, starts to crumble. Because the thing is, if that's what we're reaching for, we're never gonna get it. Never gonna be good enough. And even if you are the best performing athlete, if you get all perfect scores on everything you're doing, which I know is like rare,
Right.
but if you reach that goal, like, the best you can do is a perfect score on everything, right?
Right.
So then it's like, when you get that perfect score on everything, then what's next? Like, is that going to satisfy? Honestly, what's left? Is that going to satisfy you? Or are you gonna be like, well, there's got to be something more to this, And I make this joke all the time about how you'll watch like kids movies where the villain like wants to conquer the world, they want to conquer everything, and then when they finally do, they realize, wow, I just am not as happy as I thought it would be, or, oh, there's got to be more to this, I'm gonna conquer the next world, like,
Right.
it's never enough. It's never
Yeah.
enough. And so, being as physically broken as I was like, just so stripped from any kind of physical performance. I was like, I can't even reach that. And there's this other song called What a God, and it goes, if the highest place I reach is at your feet, then I've done it all. And so that's the mentality that I've had to learn and take on of like, Lord, I'm striving for you. I'm not striving for a time.
Yeah.
I'm striving for you. At the end of the day, if I like fail the times and all of that, if I run a lot slower than what I wanted, but I'm still reaching for the feet of Jesus, then I've won it all. Then like I've done everything that I've wanted to do. You know, if Jesus is the goal and you're reaching for Jesus, you will be satisfied in him alone, and you won't have to satisfy yourself in anything else of the world.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. So good. It makes me think that like cuz I've had the same kind of thought before of like okay, if I were to fall on every single routine that I compete for the rest of my career or if I don't even get the opportunity to compete for the
Right?
rest of my
Yeah.
career, I know that part of me would be like distraught, like, "Oh my gosh, like, I feel like I'm horrible at this, and why am I here?" But then there's that other part that's like, you're here for so much more.
Yes.
Like,
Yep.
God didn't put you at UGA for just for you to just fail. Like, that's not why he put you there. And also, say, I think about this all the time as a gymnast, like, we get a beam song, right?
Right. Yeah.
And I love to make my beam song a worship song because
Yeah, because they're a
it's
little slower
then
songs too.
it's slower, so, like, that works, but it also, like, is playing in Stegman Coliseum with a sold out crowd. And, like, I remember this even happened to me last year, like, I fell on my routine, and I still got, like, DMs on Instagram that was like, "Wow, thank you so much for, like, playing that song and being so unashamed to, like, choose that and proclaim that and, like, put that like, show the world that that's your identity." And, like, not a single person mentioned that I had fallen. Meanwhile, I'm, like, freaking out in my room,
Right,
like,
right, yeah.
"Oh, Miles, is that this me?" And I fell, and, like, the everyone was there, and who am I? Can I even do gymnastics anymore? Like, every practice I've ever had doesn't matter because I just fell on this one routine, and then I opened my phone literally the next day to DMs of people reminding me that, like, it's so much bigger than performance. Literally, I don't think a single person in that crowd would have remembered what my routine looked
No, not at
like,
all.
at
But they
all.
remembered that your song was like a Jesus song. It was
Right.
praising the
Yeah,
Lord, or giving some sort of message to the crowd, like, this is what matters the most in my life. It's being satisfied in that instead of being satisfied in your routine. And that speaks so much more because that's kingdom fulfillment. That's
right.
fulfillment you can't get
You
from
can't
a
get anywhere
perfect
else,
routine
and it's
here.
so unmatched
Yeah.
that, like, you can't describe it until you've felt like, "Oh, that's from the kingdom. Oh, that's from the Lord." And it even, like, after that situation or, like, scenario that I went through, it reminded me every other time in season, like, I would hear the song play, and it was, like, clicked in my head that, like, that's why I'm doing this. I'm not getting on this beam to get a perfect 10. Wow, that would be awesome and super fun and cool. Like, that would be great, but that's not the reason that I'm doing it, you know? And it's so hard to practically, as an athlete, be like, "Oh, yeah, my performance, like, whatever, it's not, it's hard to be all nonchalant about it.
Right, right.
But, like, at the same time, I think that is a good goal almost to, like, how can I bring my how I feel about my performance down here and how I feel about glorifying the Lord, like, as high as I can possibly make it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, God wants you to do your best, and he wants you to try hard in everything that you do, because like he's given you like that amazing talent, and more than just the amazing talent, he's given you the drive
Right.
to have amazing talent, because that's I have this whole thing about talent. I'm like, yes, some people are born talented, but a lot of it is the work that you put in. And so it's the drive that the Lord has given you to put in that work. And so it's like, well, I'm going to be so driven for this. But at the same time, if you're so driven to be so good at gymnastics, like you have that same ability to be that driven for the Lord.
Right.
Kind of like that
Right.
Saul Paul situation. If you know that
Yeah.
story in the Bible of Saul was like so, he was a great leader just for the wrong reasons. And he was so passionate about what he was doing. And he believed so firmly in the things that he believed that like no one was going to stop him doing anything. And then he had this encounter with Jesus that transformed his perspective on Jesus. And he was like, this is the Son of God. And so he was the same person with his passion and ability. It was just redirected towards telling people about Jesus and how Jesus was the Son of God,
Yeah.
the Son of God. And so like then he was a force for the Lord in that, and like was, I mean, incredible. So like the Lord has given you like that ability, in that way to be as passionate for him as you are about gymnastics. And it's so beautiful that both of those things can coincide literally in Stegman Coliseum when you're playing
Yeah.
a worship song while you're doing your routine. Like,
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. I think that that is such a good thing to, like, sit down and I know you said that you're a journaler, I'm a journaler too, but well, if you're not, try it, but or just, like, to wrestle with God of, like, where is my focus and my drive? Like, is my drive so focused on my sport and just, like, not at all in my faith? Or are you, like, sorta kinda trying with your faith and, like, sorta kinda trying with your sport, but, like, you have more in you to give? I think that's such a cool thing that, like, I encourage anyone who's listening to sit down and think about of, like, "Okay, where in my life am I driven the most? And is that God or not?" And it's almost like a check-in of like, "Wait a minute, you know, hold on. I'm super driven in school. I wanna be a doctor. I can't wait to be. Like, I'm gonna, I'm gonna find a cure for cancer." Like,
Yeah.
I know there's people out there that are, like, so driven, and that's amazing. But are you driven that same way in your faith? And how much more could the Lord do through you if you were?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Just being so obedient to him, because we
yeah,
think like the things that we're driven about that aren't of the Lord are like way, way more important because can see. And that's because we're in the world physically. So that's what we can see and that's what we can experience. And like the kingdom of heaven is not something that we can like hold or like see. And, like I don't know about you, but I don't like physically see Jesus like ever.
no, I mean, that'd be pretty cool,
But
but no.
that'd be pretty cool. Jesus in the flesh would happened one time on this earth, but
Right.
not currently, which dang it. But it makes it more beautiful because it takes like if you could see Jesus right now, it wouldn't really take faith to really believe in him. Like it takes faith because you can't see him. But that's a
Right.
whole
Oh,
nother little
we
thing
could do
there.
a whole 'nother episode
Oh,
on
yeah, a
that.
whole nother episode about that. It's just like where is your passion at? And is that being used for Christ, or are your desires not to be at his feet? Are your desires to be at your own striving for acceptance and performance and all the things?
Right, right. That's awesome. I hope people are taking notes for this during this because that was amazing. Everything you just said. So, switching gears a little bit, I want to go back to your story. You said you grew up in a very loving Christian household. You went to like a small private Christian school. So, I'm sure coming to a big SEC school like UGA was a bit of a culture shock in a
Definitely.
way. What was that like?
Yeah, honestly, and that's a huge part of my story again. I would say I grew up pretty sheltered, and that's not a bad thing. It just was shocking for me coming to Georgia. I took this personality test my freshman year, called the Clifton Strengths Test, and I also had to take it again for a different class. So I've taken it now twice, but it's a very extensive personality assessment of like what your top 5 strengths are as a person. And so this kind of relates back to how I dealt with that kind of culture shock. My number one strength is belief, which is so funny.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, what does that mean? Like, my strength is belief. Like, yes, believe in God. Like, that's not necessarily what it meant, but it's just the fact that like I have these morals and I'm not going to budge on them no matter what anyone says. My firm faith like trumps everything else that I could ever think. I'm a
Yeah.
very like empathetic person. I'm a very like people pleaser, so I want people to like me. But the number one strength being belief means that like it trumps everything else that I feel. I started getting plugged in with Athens Church, which is now where I work. So funny. 4 years
So
later.
awesome. Coolest thing
Yeah,
ever.
ended up getting super involved,
Yeah.
but started getting involved with Athens Church, started to be known by people here and to be seen by people here, people who want to do the same things I want to do and just run after Jesus with everything that I have and everything that I am, and people to lead me and walk with me in the suffering through my injuries, through my questioning of the Lord, through my feeling lonely and left out from some of my teammates, like through all of that, like I found such a home in my church community. And then in the Team United FCA ministry, I found a lot of those same athletes who were going through the same stuff I was, which is such a cool thing. And even like you, Brooke, I know you're involved with TU a little bit, and
Yeah.
so fun. Like it's just such, it was so incredible to be a part of that and get involved in that and be on that leadership team. And now not being on the team, I was like, all right, Lord, like, how do I still serve my teammates well? Because I feel like I'm not done with them yet. Like my relationship with them isn't over, and I still feel like I need to minister to them. So I started working at the Bite, and it was like,
No way. Is that really like the driving
so
factor?
this was the driving factor. And I was praying, like, this is so specific. It's so cool. So I was praying, Lord, like, how do I serve my teammates? Like, I want to still serve my teammates, but I'm not on the team. And I was like, there's going to be a disconnect. Like, I want to see them all the time, like, but they're so busy. How does this work? And so then I asked about working at the Bite, and it was like super chill. All I had to do was restock stuff. And then I just got everyone. But the title, the job title, like the actual job title was called a server.
And you were like,
So I was a server.
me.
Like it
That's
literally
awesome.
was legitimately a server. Isn't
Yeah.
that so cool? And
Yeah.
so I was
Yeah.
like, wait, Lord, like this is crazy. I was asking him, how do I serve my teammates? He goes, well, you can be a server. And I'm like, well, I know I can be like a server. He's like, no, legit. Like,
Yeah. No, like I'm literally gonna give you the title. Actually, if you don't believe me, watch.
which is so cool. And so for a year, I got to do that and like just be that face when people walk in the Bite. And like, I know, like, it takes one to know one, like a face of someone who's had a hard practice or someone who just had a hard conversation with coach or someone who's walking in like limping. And I'm like, oh, shoot, like you know what I mean? And I get
Yeah.
to be that face and just be like, hey, I'm here for you, praying for you. Like, I can think of multiple times where different people I knew and got close with would walk in and see me and like start crying because they're like, I just need to tell you like what's on. And I'm just like, I'm here for it. Like I have so much capacity to be here for people because that's literally where I position myself. I'm like, I'm just
Right.
here for you. And since I wasn't on the team anymore, I had a lot of more like emotional capacity, to kind of take that on. And I was there every time, just available. Be like, all right, how are you doing? How's it going? And then, just being there in the hard seasons of my teammates' lives and other people I know on other teams, but as well as like the awesome successes and like, I saw that you did that. Like, that's so cool.
Right.
Even if it wasn't
And
athletics
being able to
related,
celebrate
like,
them.
just being able to celebrate them
Yeah.
and just, I had like, I think 1 or 2 different times where somebody came in and was like, I get so excited to come in here every day because you just like get so
Aw.
excited to see me. And I'm like, I just, I'm just like so happy to be here. So it was such a blessing to be able to do something like that and not doing that anymore because now I'm working at Athens Church. It's like, it takes up a lot more of my time and I love it. Like it's my calling for sure for this period of my life. But working at the Bite was amazing. And that was still an answered prayer. And back when I was like, all right, Lord, like you're giving me this opportunity to run at Georgia.
Yeah.
Who knew that he really wanted me at the Bite 3 years later to be able to walk through some of my teammates' lives, with them. But I wouldn't have been a part of this like people group if I hadn't been recruited and hadn't suffered myself, and been on the team myself. Like, I think one of the best things about being able to pray to Jesus is knowing that he walked the earth and suffered the way that we did. So he
I was
genuinely
literally thinking that earlier. I was thinking that exact same thing. Keep going, keep going.
So, well, I'm wrapping up, but like he genuinely gets it, and I'm like, I love that I got to be a server and be the hands and feet of Jesus and genuinely understand the people who are walking the bite because I had been an athlete. Like, I had suffered 2 years, not that was suffering the whole time. Like, I had some great races, I had some ups and downs, like some great memories. Like, it wasn't all suffering,
Right.
But a lot of athletics is it's a mental battle, it's a physical battle. You're fighting it together. So if the whole purpose of me being on the team was just so that I can relate to people who are athletes and be in that crowd of people and be able to do things like this where I can speak to it because I've done it and I know it, then I've done it all. If the highest place I reach is where I took me, regardless of my performance or regardless of any of that,
Right,
I'm
that you had to
here.
medically retire regardless of,
Yeah.
all of those
Mhm.
things. Like, you've
Yeah.
still
I
you
still
you've
I
done it.
still
You've
get
done
to be
it,
here.
like, that what
Yeah.
he's called you to do, and
Yes,
that's
exactly.
that's amazing. Okay, final question just to wrap things up. What would be your one piece of advice to a young athlete who is just trying to navigate what it's like to be a Christian and also, play in their sport? And what advice would you give to them as they're trying to figure out how those two things intersect?
Mhm. I would say don't try to live in the future because I read this book once, it's, called Courage. It actually wasn't even a Christian book, which is really interesting because it had a lot of, Christian themes to it, but something that I learned from it was that if Janie today, if my senior year Janie could talk to my senior year of high school Janie and tell her everything that I went through the past years, I don't think senior year Janie would want to come to Georgia.
Wow.
I think I'd be like, that's so hard and scary. I don't why would I want to do that? Like all the things,
Why would I pick that life?
injuries, why would I want to do that? Like, I'm not going to choose to do that. But do I regret my choice to come to Georgia? No. Like, I've made incredible memories and everything that the Lord has done in my life has made me who I am and has built me up. So I don't regret any of that. But the thing is, if we knew the future, if we're always praying for direction, like, Lord, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? What do you have for me? I just want this to go well. I wish I knew this. I wish I knew that. If we try to live in the future, and God, if God actually revealed to us what would happen, we would be too afraid to take that step to continue. So that's honestly why he doesn't reveal things to us like that.
That's
Is
so
because he
true.
gives us, it's like the light into your feet, the light into your path. I mean, I know that talks about the Bible, but still, the Lord just shines a light on the next step. Because if we could see the whole staircase, we would be too scared to go up the stairs.
150 stairs,
I'd be
what?
like, I don't know. He just gives you the next step because he wants you to keep going. And he knows that in your brain, if you knew everything that he had for you, you would be too scared to do it. So, don't live in the future. Just be in the now because the Lord is going to give you enough strength and energy and confidence to take that next step because that's still the path that he has for you. And it's still good. God is still good in all of that. And even if the staircase is long or even if it's short and it's not that bad and you're like, I got it, don't try to live in the future and don't try to ask God, just show me this, show me that. No, just trust him and live in the present. Cause I mean, I'm so senior nostalgic right now, but looking back, I wish I had lived more in the present because I'm about to graduate and it's kind of sad. I wish I had more time, honestly, because college is awesome and it's so fun, but just be so fully present in the moment you're at. If you're on your sports team and you don't even know if you're going to get to do it again the next year or if you're going to get to compete at the next meet, just be so grateful that you're at that meet right now, and be so grateful that you get to be on the team today, and just because you don't have to worry about the future. Like, that will worry about itself. That's literally a verse in the Bible.
Yep.
So just be present, be where you're at, and live so fully the day that you have to live, like right now.
Amazing piece of advice. I love that. And it's so amazing too how when you make that, it's almost like a conscious like choice of like, no, I'm choosing to like think about right now what I'm doing, and I'm choosing to not think about the all the things I wanna do or all the things I have to do or all the things I need to get done in time or whatever. When you choose to be present, it's so much more enjoyable, and you see God in so many more moments. Like,
Yeah.
you realize, "Oh my gosh, whoa. That was such a blessing that you were able to do that. Oh my gosh, wow. Oh my gosh, didn't even," you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you see him so much more when you're in the moment that he's giving you at that time, rather than trying to get ahead and trying to rush through it, and I love that. I think it's great advice too. I mean, I'm not a senior in college, but I was just thinking the other day about, like, wow, I wish that I enjoyed my club time, my, like, time in club gymnastics more, like, all of those girls, the little girls that I would interact with, like, they're all deciding their colleges now, and I'm like, now I'm feeling old too, and I'm like, college is awesome, but, like, and especially in the gymnastics world, it's always just like, make it to college, make it to college, make
Yep.
it to college.
Yeah.
But, like, it's so fun to just be 15 years old and doing gymnastics too, and, like, getting to play games for warm up and, I remember we would play, like, kickball with a giant yoga ball, like, on our floor and, like, launch it across the gym, and I wish I took those moments in more now looking back because you don't get them back, and so I think it's an amazing piece of advice that we should all take because I know it's so hard to, like, practically do, but
Even
I'm
myself right now, I'm
yeah,
trying to
same.
I'm like job searching right now, and so
Yeah.
no, but I don't wanna miss out on my senior year, like, I gotta
Yeah,
be present now.
yeah,
So I'm trying to take that too.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much, Janie. This was amazing. You're amazing. Any last words you wanna tell our listeners?
Being boldly.
Beam boldly, shine
Being
your light.
boldly. Being boldly.
I love it. I love it. It's been such a blessing and an honor to talk with you, Janie. Why don't you go ahead and tell people how they can connect with you, how they can follow you, follow your podcast? What are what are all your handles?
Yeah.
Let us know.
Yeah. Well, it has been such a blessing being able to be on this podcast. Brooke, I think you are absolutely incredible. And it's so fun to get to talk to you about all of this. Obviously, we're both very passionate about very similar things. So, my podcast, again, is called Wait, There's More. My co host is Erin McMiniman, and she actually just graduated, but she was on the UGA track team. She throws the javelin. So, we're both on the same team for a while. But our podcast is on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. So you can find it there. You can follow me on Instagram at janie.aspen. Aspen's my middle name. So you can follow me there. Feel free to DM me anything if you want to just talk about if you have a similar story with your knee. I kind of get comments about that a lot of like, wait, you had the same knee thing I had. Very niche. But it literally anything. I love talking about Jesus, love talking about sports and all of that. So feel free to DM me on Instagram or find me on Spotify.
Yes, do it. Janie's awesome. You won't regret it. Well, guys, thank you so much for listening. Make sure to like and subscribe so that you can stay up to date with Beam Boldly podcast, which you can listen to on literally anywhere that you listen to your podcast. So I hope you guys have an amazing week. I love you. God loves you. And I will see you next time.